we watch, we observe, and then we strike. Welcome to Crypto Strikers. My name is Frank. The channel you want to subscribe to for Bitcoin, altcoin, and all that crypto analysis. In today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at the Bitcoin price, my price target, where I feel the price of Bitcoin might be heading to in the immediate short term, and also my price target for the long term as well. I said it, guys, that once we get to $52,000 range for the price of Bitcoin, we are going to see an extension of not more than $3,000 extension at most, and we're going to have a pullback from that particular price range, and then that is what we are seeing in the price of Bitcoin right now. I so much overemphasized it on my previous video. You can go take a look at my previous video. I said it that we are going to get $2,000 to $3,000 extension once we get to $52,000, and I was barely saying this when the price of Bitcoin was around $49,000. So if this is your first time meeting me on this channel and you want to get notified about the Bitcoin price, where I feel the price of Bitcoin might be heading to at the immediate short term, and then also my price target for the long term as well, go on, click on the subscribe button and then click on the notification bell icon so you can get notified anytime I post similar video like this concerning the price of Bitcoin and my price analysis for the long term as well. So without further ado, let me jump right into the video of today. All right, guys, so this is the Bitcoin price, and this is the daily time frame that we have for Bitcoin. And as we can see, Bitcoin moved from the $52,000 range up to the $55,000 range. We saw this massive gigantic candle, guys. Take a look at this, guys. Look at this big impulsive candle, this bullish candle that we have here. We saw that in the price of Bitcoin, and then that pushed the price of Bitcoin to $55,000. So now the price of Bitcoin is at $55,000. Where do I feel we might be heading to? As you can see, I made mention of this two moving average that just crossed in my previous video, that we are most likely going to have an impulsive movement in the price of Bitcoin. We overemphasize on this on my previous video that we just had a cross here, and then this signify a bullish signal for the price of Bitcoin, but it still doesn't necessarily means we are just going to start going up forever. That I said that we are going to have some movement to the downside as well. So a slight pullback in the price of Bitcoin is definitely fine. It's definitely fine, because we are going to see some more movements, more shakeouts in the price of Bitcoin to the downside, and before we can continue this rally to the upside. And this was one indication I gave to you guys, and I remember telling you guys as well that the RSI on my previous video, I said it when the RSI was just around this particular point here. You can go watch that video, and I said it that once the price of Bitcoin gets to this particular range, that we have passed the 50 range, and I said it that we still have much more room to go for the price of Bitcoin, and that was when Bitcoin moved from $52,000 to $55,000. So this was the movement that we saw when Bitcoin actually make that particular movement, and as you can see, we have gotten to the 70 range for the RSI, and this is showing us a sign of overbought in the price of Bitcoin. So most likely we are going to see something like this that can form in the price of Bitcoin. You know, we can still even go back, but it's most likely we're going to come down back to test a particular range in terms of the RSI, and that will reflect in the price of BTC as well. And I made mention of the MACD as well in my previous video, that the MACD just crossed over here, and then since we've crossed over, we saw the price of Bitcoin start moving into the positive territory of the MACD, and that is what you can see here. We can see the green bars for the MACD has started forming, and then that also signify a bullish signal. I also did something like this in my previous video, that we have so many cross. Once we have a cross like it, is always a bullish signal for the price of Bitcoin. It's always a bullish signal for the price of Bitcoin. So right now, I feel if Bitcoin actually wants to retreat, we are going to see something like this. I'm going to see something like this. I'm going to see the price of Bitcoin to either retrace to this particular range, or we're going to see it still come down to this particular range as well. We're going to see something like this. So these two price target that we are seeing for the price of Bitcoin, these two places is where the price of Bitcoin is most likely going to drop to. So the price of Bitcoin is most likely going to drop to either retest the $52,000 range or comes down back to retest the $49,000 range. So my worst case scenario when it comes to this is when it comes to this pullback, I feel if we're going to have much pullback in the price of Bitcoin, we are going to see the price of Bitcoin come to retest this particular price range. And then why do I feel that? Why do I actually say the price of Bitcoin can at least retrace back to touch those price range? Guys, take a look at this and tell me what you think. Now if we take a look at this, we saw that this is a falling wedge, and when Bitcoin eventually broke out from this particular point that we have here, when Bitcoin broke out from this point, we saw Bitcoin perfectly hit the price target here. Bitcoin perfectly hit the price target here, and we saw this retracement down back, and what did we see? We saw the price of Bitcoin start another movement to the upside, and now we formed another falling wedge like this. Eventually the price of Bitcoin broke out, and at this time what we can highly say that is happening here is that we know for sure that this is a continuation pattern for the price of Bitcoin, like, because Bitcoin started this movement, this whole movement started from around here and started like this, and now this whole movement started up to this particular point here, and then this is an impulsive move to the upside. So definitely this falling wedge that we have here is going to continue, like this pattern that just happened here. There will be a continuation pattern that will follow this range like this. We're going to see something like this, because most likely this falling wedge has already met the price target of $52,000, and then even extends to $55,000, and then that $55,000 that Bitcoin extends to is it just signifies the top for Bitcoin at that part, based on this particular pattern that was forming in the price of Bitcoin. And so most likely we're going to see a pullback just the way we have here. You can see when we get to this particular point, we have a pullback and then continue the rally to the upside. So now we've gotten to the top place of this price target that we have here. So most likely we're going to have a pullback like this. We're going to have a pullback, and then after the pullback we're going to have a continuation movement to the upside. So that is what I feel will happen when it comes to the price of Bitcoin regarding this pullback that we are having. And then why do I also say so? Because even this is just a pure textbook pattern when it comes to the price of Bitcoin, guys. If you take a look at this, guys, you'll find out that take a look at this, guys. Now if you see, this is that impulsive movement that I was mentioning, that we started this impulsive movement in the price of Bitcoin. And when we have that impulsive movement, you can see we break out just the same way we broke out from this particular wedge, and then we got to the top, which is the $55,000 range for Bitcoin, and then eventually we're going to see a pullback in the price of Bitcoin. We're going to see a pullback, and then that pullback can most likely get to the top of the breakout, which is $52,000 in our range, or most likely extend below the $52,000 range and comes down to $49,000 range, which was these two particular points I was mentioning to you guys. So most likely this pullback gonna take Bitcoin to the price of $52,000 range, and also if the pullback still want to continue, we are most likely going to get to the point of $49,000. So, and aside this textbook confirmation that we have here when it comes to the price of Bitcoin right now, aside this particular textbook confirmation, what other confirmation do I have that makes me to say that we are going to see a pullback when it comes to the price of Bitcoin? Okay, guys, let's take a look at this. Guys. Now I remember saying this to you guys, that when Bitcoin gets to this particular range, we are not going to see something like this. We are not going to see something like this in the price of Bitcoin, because it has gotten to the top, and is at the top of the scale. We are going to see just a sideways movement like this, and then most eventually we're going to come down. We're going to test this particular bottom of the wedge. So you want to get prepared for this, guys. You want to get prepared for this. You don't want to start entering into a trade now, because I remember telling you guys that don't go into a trade when Bitcoin gets into the $55,000, because it will just signify you are gambling the market, guys, because there is no pure direction. Forget about the price, forget about the fact that Bitcoin moved from $52,000 to $55,000, and we all saw that impulsive movement. Like I said it, guys, sometimes when a movement is happening in the price of Bitcoin, you just can't catch it, guys. You can't catch it. So don't really jump into a trade when the price of Bitcoin start moving up. Maybe when an impulsive move starts happening in the price of Bitcoin, it's not really advisable to go into a trade. So you really need to wait for a confirmation. You really needs to know to have a pure direction where you feel the price of Bitcoin might be going to. So for those of you that might be wondering, what is this particular thing that is that I showed here? This is the stochastic that we have here in the price of Bitcoin, and as you can see, each time the price of Bitcoin gets into this top point at the scale of this stochastic that we are seeing here, you can see the price of Bitcoin, it always calm down. Once it gets to this top point here, it always calm down. Like, it happens times without number. Once it gets to this point, we always calm down. This is another one that we have here. It always calm down. There is another one as well. It always calm down. And then this is where we are right now, guys. It's very reasonable for us to feel and think and know that the price of Bitcoin at this particular point is not going to go up to this particular point. It's most likely going to calm down. So you really need to prepare and wait for the pullback of the price of Bitcoin, and once it gets to this particular point, you want to enter your trade at this point here. So that is why I feel the price of Bitcoin will most likely get to this point of confluence that we have here, which is sitting around $49,000, or most likely retest the $52,000 range and as well, and then find another movements like this to the upside. So that is what I feel, and that is why I said the price of Bitcoin going to at least retest the $52,000 range, or the $49,000 to $50,000 range at most, before we're going to see another movement to the upside. So that is just a quick one I have for you guys, and if you find value in this video, kindly give this video a thumbs up, click on the notification bell icon, and then subscribe to the channel to get notified anytime I post similar video like this concerning the price of Bitcoin and also my price target for the long term as well. And I actually want to end this video, guys, but let me quickly show you guys my price target for the long term for Bitcoin, because I've been saying it when it comes to the price target. I'm one of the few person talking about this particular price target when it comes to Bitcoin, and I'm overemphasizing it that the price of Bitcoin this year is going to go above $70,000, and this is the reason why I'm saying that, guys. Okay, so as we can see now, we can see that we have this particular chart here that is presenting itself to us, and we can see that we have the left shoulder here, we have the head here, and the right shoulder has already been formed. And I've been saying this even before all these candles started forming in most of my video, and I remember telling you guys that the moment Bitcoin will break this particular trend line, guys, here, once Bitcoin break this trend line here, it will be an impulsive movement in the price of Bitcoin. We're going to see something very fast in the price of Bitcoin. So and right now, what did we see, guys? Take a look at this. As you can see, the price of Bitcoin just broke this trend line that I was talking about, guys. The price of Bitcoin just broke this trend line, and the only thing that is remaining when it comes to this, the only thing remaining is for the price of Bitcoin to find support at this particular trend line, close a weekly candle above this particular trend line, and then once this happens, we're going to see a movement to the upside. And then once that movement starts, the price of Bitcoin will at least retest the all-time high for Bitcoin. We're going to go way past above the $64,000 to $65,000 range for Bitcoin and head to the price target of this particular pattern that is forming for the price of Bitcoin. And where do I feel this pattern is going to? This is it, guys. You can see we already got the breakout, and then from this point of breakout, you can see this will leave the price of Bitcoin. This will leave the price of Bitcoin to a price target of $74,000 to $75,000 range for the price of Bitcoin. So now we've gotten this breakout that we are looking for, the breakout I was talking about in my previous video. It has happened for the price of Bitcoin, and the only thing remaining now is just for Bitcoin to close a weekly candle above this trend line. So we just really need to wait between now and 7 days time and see what will happen in the price of Bitcoin. Once in 7 days time, once we have a weekly candle above this particular trend line, guys, we're gonna see Bitcoin move to the $65,000 range, and then most eventually move in a range bound formation and break the all-time high and then get to this particular price target that I was mentioning, this price target of $74,000 to $75,000 for the price of Bitcoin. So that's what I have for you guys, and if you find value in this video, please give this video a thumbs up and then subscribe to my channel and then click on the notification bell icon so you will get notified anytime I post a new video. So with that being said, I'll be signing out. Catch you guys. Peace.